Just to know, I would like to know before to start, who has experience in philosophical practice, who knows already a bit about philosophical practice, can raise your hand. Okay, most of you. Okay, the idea of this workshop, in a way, is to introduce new people to the practice, let's say, but also to give the opportunity to people that know already a bit of the practice to reflect on it. Let's say focus on it, since it's a popular word in Alex's association. And Alex, you proposed a title that was how do we practice philosophy? Yeah. And I think it's an interesting question. Yeah. And we have to try to answer the question. But before to answer, I would like to problematize the question. I think there is a problem in the question, at least one problem, is the concept of philosophical practice. Because usually for common sense, philosophy is not a practice, it's something theoretical. So usually for, let's say, common people, theory and practice are two different fields, yeah? And philosophy is in theory, yeah? Has to do with something abstract. While the practice has to do with actions, application to concrete experience. Actually, there is the etymology that is interesting here, because abstract comes from Latin, ab traere, which means pull, take out something, which means catch, basically, yeah? So you have an experience, and when you do the abstract work, you catch something from that experience, yeah? While practice means, it comes from the Greek, and it means do stuff, yeah? Do things. So the problem is how philosophical work can be practiced, yeah? And in a way, the idea of common sense is popular nowadays, I would say, but is very old, because I don't know if you remember the first philosopher, Talit. There is a famous story about him. Yeah, he was walking in the street by watching the sky and the star, and he fell in a well. Yeah, and there was the Thracian maid that made fun of him. Yeah. So basically, this idea is really ancient, and in a way, it's true. Yeah. Philosophers usually are not the practical people. Yeah. If you want to solve a problem, a practical problem, you don't ask a philosopher to solve it. Yeah. But if you look at the tradition, you have other example that can provide another standpoint on the philosophy. For example, if you take Pierre Hadot is a French philosopher that proposed this idea that ancient philosophy is not theoretical, but is a practice. What means a practice? Basically, ancient philosopher and their student, they're doing real concrete activities in every day. Yeah? You enter in a school to behave like the master, basically. You spend the day by writing, by contemplating, by walking, dialing. Yeah. So basically, that was a practice that the people wanted to do in order to transform their life. So here there is the idea that philosophy can affect the life, can transform your day life. In a way, maybe that can cure some problems you have. In fact, in some schools like Stoics, philosophy were meant to be a therapy of the soul. Yeah? Nowadays we distinguish therapy from philosophy, yeah, but maybe before it was different. Yeah, even in Socrates, if you say Socrates, philosophy is a practice. It's a practice to take care of the soul. Yeah. Which is the essence of the humans for human. So we have examples that show that the philosophy can be viewed as a way of living, a practice. And Socrates, in a way, is one of the most important example. That he is the guy that inspired us to do the philosophical practice nowadays. Yeah? So in a way, Socrates was spending most of his life by challenge people. By concretely, he was questioning people. Yeah? And so basically, philosophical practice can be viewed as a constant challenge without people would not think. And he didn't do it inside an institution. He did in, let's say, in Agora, in front of the school, not inside of the school, yeah, in the street of Athens. So he was asking questions, and usually he was asking for a definition of concept, yeah. What is beauty, what is truth, what is knowledge, what is courage, and so on. Yeah? So he was looking for concepts. And concepts are very important in thinking, actually. So if you want to think, you need to use concepts. Concepts are the tools that we use to think. Yeah? That's why in philosophical practice, we do exercise, for example, about conceptualization, yeah? And here we have the concept of concept, which is interesting. I don't know if you ever thought about the idea of concept, yeah? But concept is a mental representation that we express through language, yeah? And that in a way, gather different objects together. So if I say table is a concept that in a way gather different objects that have something in common. Yeah. So in a way, the concept is a way to gather things, but at the same time to divide, to separate. Yeah, because what is inside a concept doesn't. In order to distinguish stuff, we need to conceptualize. But of course, it's not easy to conceptualize. You need to practice, and here we have again the idea of practice. So we need to exercise ourselves. It's like when you do a sport, right? If you want to become, let's say, good in any sport, you need to practice. You have to train yourself, and it's the same with thinking. Yeah. Often we have the idea, maybe common sense has the idea that thinking is something spontaneous, yeah? But it's not the case for Socrates. For Socrates, it's more like an art, yeah? Like we have different artists here, and artist does something, yeah? And he doesn't do by chance. There is discipline, there is exercise, there is technique, and a bit is the same with thinking, yeah? And Socrates was, in a way, a trainer of thinkers. Yeah? But of course, it's difficult. It's difficult because there are many emotions involved in the process of thinking. Yeah? Many fears, for instance. For example, fear of saying something stupid, the fear of making mistakes, the fear to be judged, the fear not to be recognized from people. So in a way, the practice is a bit violent, yeah? And that may be one reason why Socrates being killed, yeah? Because he was trying to push people out of their subjectivity in order to think. But of course, there are many resistances that we have, yeah? And we saw in the workshop often that people resist. It's normal to resist, yeah? One way to resist is not to speak, for example, not to answer, yeah, or to be aggressive. Another way. So here is a bit of theoretical elements I want to bring in the introduction. But since it's philosophical practice, it wouldn't make sense to speak just directly about it. Yeah. So I would like to propose you to interact. Yeah. So if you have any questions about what I said, or if you have any curiosity about the practice, I invite you to ask some questions. So maybe we have the chance to see the philosophical practice, how it works in a dialogue. So we have the opportunity to ask any question.
Okay, so I will.
Yeah.
So when you said concept, that is the image, what you have, like the first thing that came to mind is that it's not like concept, but imagination. That's what I was thinking. Because
Yes.
isn't like imagination is something that it's in my mind. I think about it, and then I, let's say, make it real. If it's, an object or maybe just an idea that I speak, but I don't think I say I.
Okay, so you're proposing the idea of imagination.
Yeah, because you said you gave a definition of concept. You said concept is then. I'm sorry.
Mental representation.
Yeah, mental representation. When you said mental representation, in my mind was the word imagination, not concept.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense then?
Yeah, and what will be the what is in common between imagination and thinking? You think?
I would say without thinking, I don't have imagination. No.
Okay, so the thinking is the condition of the imagination, right?
I would say so, yeah.
Okay. Let's see if there are other hypotheses.
Although I do have kind of like a counterexample. It's when I read a book. When I read a book, I just read it. I don't think. But as I read it, and the author is very descriptive, in my mind, let's say you read Harry Potter or whatever, I see, whatever he's riding a broom, whatever he's doing, Expelliarmus, whatever,
Mm-hmm. Okay, I can propose to you an idea, by Plato, that imagination is the lowest level of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in a way, thinking has to do more with building, producing idea, to connect idea, to distinguish idea, while imagination is more, let's say, a free process. Yeah. That can be involved in the thinking, but is just a little part of thinking. So it's not the higher level of thinking you can reach, basically. Makes sense?
Because it doesn't have like specific, I don't know how to say, like tools that a thinker might use to. I don't know if tools is the right word here, but as you said, it's more free. It's more.
In a way, in Plato, I would say that thinking is a way to reconcile with reality. Yeah. While imagination usually is a way to escape from reality. Yeah. In a way, it reminds me the Plato's cave myth. I don't know if you know. There is some prisoners inside the cave, and they watch on the wall. And they watch images, basically shadows, and they think that that's the reality, While thinking is a process where you go beyond, in a way, your subjectivity, I would say that imagination is a lot with the subjectivity, While thinking is more with the objective one, which doesn't exclude the totally subjectivity. There is subjectivity in thinking, but maybe there is more in imagination. That is good?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
I just wanted to break the ice, maybe somebody else's courage.
Thank you. You broke the ice.
Yeah. Or maybe not.
I see.
Yes, I think terminologists have a good way of exemplifying what a concept is. Like when you had someone who created the table or whatever, they first had the image in their mind of the table or whatever, and then in order to communicate what they had in their mind, they needed to have a concept, to put it out there, to communicate what they have in their mind, and then to coin it or label it with a term. And the concept is making clear what you have in your mind.
Okay, I propose to you to do a little exercise if you want. Since you're speaking about conceptualization, can you conceptualize just what you just said in few words?
You need concepts in order to bring the mental representation into reality, in order to communicate with people.
Okay, so without concept, it's not possible to communicate.
Not easy. Well,
You see, when you conceptualize, you in a way you're more aware of what you are saying, yeah, and you see maybe the chaos or you see some problems. That's why it can be useful to conceptualize. Can you do it again? Maybe?
No.
Now, yeah, it's difficult. And what do you think is difficult?
Because I'm blocked now. I mean, I'm stick to my idea of what the concept is, and now you sort of restricted my understanding,
Yeah.
and twisted it a little bit. That it's the only way to communicate, but
Okay.
it's not.
So the difficulty is the restriction
Yeah.
of the concept. And why restriction is an obstacle, you think?
No, it's not an obstacle. It's just like now.
Do you agree that now you're a bit stuck?
Yeah. I know.
So the reason kind of obstacle. Yeah. Can you name it?
Yeah, the fact that you narrowed it down to
Okay,
a
so-
single way of communicating.
Okay. So restriction is an obstacle. Agree? The limit. No?
Yeah. This.
Okay. And can you say why?
Because of its nature of blocking you, not being able to pass by certain.
Okay, let's see if there are other hypotheses to explain, because I think it's an important point to understand why it's difficult to think, why it's difficult to answer, let's say, some questions. Yes?
I think she restricted herself when she said that the concepts are necessary for communicating, and when you showed that communication is bigger than that, and she said, I want to stick to my idea, she restricted herself there rather than opening up. So
Okay.
it's a self-restriction.
Self-restriction. Okay.
A refusal to widen the perspective with a wider concept.
Okay. And now, can you say why limits can be useful for thinking?
Yes, concepts create limits. For example, the concept of table tells us what fits to be named table and what doesn't fit to be named table. So it creates an imaginary limit that helps us to make categories and to name things and then speak about them in their absence.
Okay, so limits separate things. It creates a separation.
Yes,
And separation is worthy for thinking.
yes.
Okay. Okay. What do you think?
I agree.
You agree? Yeah. But you see, it's difficult. You know, sometimes we think that the most word we use, the most clear we are, but it's just the opposite. Yeah. Like I teach at school, and usually when I'm more clear, I use less words. Yeah.
That's
But-
difficult.
Yeah.
So one question.
Yes.
Why would someone, in this case her, restrict her mind to only thinking about this concept and refuse to come up with a bigger one, for example, or an alternative? It's not just you, but usually I also get stuck on one idea, and the question is why stuck with one idea and
Okay.
not able to come
Okay.
up with
Anka,
another?
do you have an hypothesis? Since it's happened to you as well.
Yes, let me think a bit. Maybe the stuck to something almost palpable creates a sense of safety,
Okay.
whereas getting out of it is like you're on open sea and you have to tolerate that you don't know until you find
Okay. So what would be the fear that doesn't let you?
The fear of not knowing, the fear of ignorance.
Okay. Can you remind the name?
Amish.
Agora. Okay. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you identify yourself? This can be an explanation or no? The fear of unknown.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I think there are other hypotheses, so let's hear other. Yes?
I want to say what she says, because she says, like, why do we limit ourselves? And for me, that brought to mind the fact that we are doing it to ourselves. Like, we are limiting ourselves. It's a choice to limit ourselves. But maybe it's not. Maybe the limitation is because, cognitively, we just are restricted.
And why do you think people tend to get stuck to some ideas?
Stubbornness.
Okay. that's the name of the phenomenon, you agree? But it's not the explanation. You see?
But can it be just because they're not intelligent enough to think other?
Just to you gave the name of the phenomenon, of the problem, stubbornness, yeah? You agree? But the cause is different than the phenomenon. So I'm asking you to identify the cause.
Yeah, I think that could be one cause, because from a mental perspective, I can just not think more than that.
Which is?
I don't know, low IQ. I don't know.
What?
Low IQ, I don't know.
Low IQ is stupidity. Okay, why not? Yeah, but what is good about thinking, I think, is to find different answers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, I think, part of the game of philosophical practice. Yeah, to test more hypotheses and to check which one of them make sense and which don't make sense. Which is a bit the idea of maieutic. Yeah. So you push people to produce ideas, then you invite people to check those ideas. But usually what I see that there is a kind of emotional relation with the idea you produce, like if it was your baby, So you tend to defend your idea, and maybe that's another reason why people get stuck with them, because they identify with their ideas. To give up with ideas could be a way to give up with oneself, which is difficult for most of the people.
To die.
Yeah. What do you think? Makes sense? Can be another reason.
Yes, exactly. It can be another reason.
Okay.
I could bring the hypothesis, the opposite of what he said, like being thinking too highly of yourself, being holding the ultimate truth. What you just said is so great that
looking for the perfect.
you can't let go. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Okay, so how would you name this problem in conceptualization?
Ego.
Yeah, I think ego could be
Okay.
a good explanation.
It's about perfectionism.
Perfectionism, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Arrogance?
Arrogance, yeah.
Arrogance.
Yeah.
Usually perfectionists are arrogant. Yeah. Just the fact that they want to chase perfection is a sign of arrogance. Yeah. It's the devil arrogance. Okay, so you see, there are many existential issues involved in philosophical practice in thinking. Yeah. So if you want to think in a way, you have to be strong enough and courageous enough to face your weak points, and it's not easy. Yeah. And but that was a big idea of challenging people. It wasn't a way to mock people, to make fun of people. But was a way to invite people to get in a higher level of thinking. Yeah? Of course, if you're stuck in your idea, in your subjectivity, it can be violent, it can be perceived as violent in practice. Yeah. Okay, we found some hypotheses. Yeah. Which do you prefer? Which do you identify the most?
Well, since I'm a perfectionist.
Okay. Okay. Good. You want to add something? No? Okay. Before to go on, Chan, did you identify something in this dialogue we had so far that strikes you, that can be interesting, that is different than normal chatting, could be interesting in order to identify some element of the philosophical practice. Someone, yeah?
Well, one element I identified is maybe you are hinting that thinking cannot really be done that well alone, because thinking involves challenging, and it's usually quite hard to challenge your own thinking.
Yeah.
So probably you need a partner or partners. My experience, not more than 3, because the ideas get spread around a bit too much. But leaving that aside, it requires at least more than one person.
Yeah, that was a big idea by Socrates. Right?
Exactly. No Socratic dialogue is just Socrates having a monologue by himself. Or there are really long monologues, but in the context of talking with other people.
Yeah. Even though I have to admit that I think there is a way to dialogue with oneself, which is writing. I think writing, Socrates didn't write, from what we know, maybe some poems before to die. But I do write, for example, and for me it's a way to dialogue with myself. But I agree with you, it's more difficult because we usually are more, let's say, nice with ourselves than with others. So maybe we don't challenge enough ourselves, like it could be with another philosopher that speaks with you, for example.
Or actually, it could also be related to the time interval, the space you got to have between you and your idea, right? Because you put the idea on the page, you leave it there for a few hours, days, months, years, who knows? And you sometime in the future get back to it. Maybe I don't agree with this anymore, but right now when we're having this conversation, I don't really have the space of thinking about what you're asking for 2 hours and then coming back to you.
Yeah, that's a bit the performative level of the practice. It's an action. You are inside the performative process. Yeah. And by the way, a way to escape a bit this let's say tendency to be nice with myself is to write with someone else. So I write and I ask another person to criticize what I wrote. It's a way to look at yourself from outside, which is a big idea of dialogue. So even writing can be a form of dialogue. Yeah. Okay, you want to add something? Oh, you're good. Yeah, good. I saw a hand before, no?
I had a question.
Yes.
Are the limits a way to challenge you to be able to think by yourself in a similar manner that you would do with another person?
Okay, so your question is the limits is a way to challenge people to think, right?
For you being able to do it by yourself when you don't have like a thinking buddy to do it with.
Okay. Right now, I'm not sure I get your question. So I don't know if someone got your question or if you want to try to reformulate in a simpler way. Try to conceptualize so you can help me to understand.
Yeah, I'm thinking about limits as a way to make you cross them over. So they can be a tool to help you diverge from one singular way of thinking or from having only your own ideas accepted as true.
Okay, so it's not a question, you want to propose an idea now.
Yeah, but I did it in the form of a question.
Okay, why?
So I don't advance it as
Gospel.
yeah.
You're not advancing?
So I don't advance it as a truth. I am posing a question to.
Okay, let me put it another way. You were looking for a confirmation of your idea.
Maybe for a challenge.
No, okay, can you answer my question? It can be no. You can say no. Instead of saying, I think this, you ask a question to get a confirmation of your idea.
To start the challenge.
No, okay. So it's not this, right?
No.
Okay. So can you give another explanation why you formulate a question instead of saying your idea?
So we can start challenging.
Okay, but you agree that you can start challenging even if you just say your ideas?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But
why you ask a question?
Because then it's also an invitation to challenge rather than an expression of this is my thought.
Okay, so you want to challenge me?
No, I wanted the dialogue rather than the monologue of me saying.
Okay. And okay, can you reformulate your idea without making a question now? Just a short sentence. You make your point.
Using limits,
Using
using can help you think by yourself in the absence of a partner in that way.
Okay, can you describe like how it works? How we can use limit to think by ourselves without a partner?
It's like having a rule, and by playing by that rule, you are making yourself diverge and explore paths that you wouldn't do without playing that game of
Yeah,
having
agree.
limits.
I agree with you. Yeah. The way it's like in the sport, without rules are limits. You agree?
Yeah.
Without limits, there would no any game. You know, I wouldn't play ping pong without rules. I couldn't. Yeah. So rules are necessary when you want to play a game. Here, the game is thinking. So limits are necessary when you want to think. I see you puzzled. Tell me what's wrong.
It's more observing that we're going back to the same concept of defining what is and what is not.
Yeah, but we have a problem with that. So do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Okay, so limits are good for thinking. Yeah. Okay? You want to add something about this? Or
Yes,
okay.
about this. Usually I think it's hard to put limits on our own ideas. And that's why it's difficult to enter in a dialogue with ourselves, because we prefer to have our ideas unlimited.
Okay.
Yes, we believe our ideas, and we like to have our ideas unlimited.
So the seeking for infinite is one reason why we reject limits.
Yes, and this seeking for infinite can be a sensation of subjectivity and living.
Okay.
While limiting is your idea ended here, it died, you put it out in the world, it's no longer yours. It's there.
So it's funny because you connect the idea of infinite with the idea of living. Yeah.
Yes.
And you remember that Plato says that in order to philosophize, we are supposed to learn how to die.
Yeah.
So in a way, to accept the finitude, in a way, it is acceptance of the limit, and that is the biggest limit of the life.
Yeah.
So maybe that can be a reason why people reject thinking.
Yeah, it requires objectification. So, because the being, we perceive it as continuous, and our subjectivity is continuous. To put a stop to an idea, which is from our subjectivity, it means to stop that subjectivity and put it outside through a word or a concept, which is very limited. So we prefer to think of ourselves and speak of ourselves in unlimited way.
Okay, so now you're basically introducing the distinction between expressing oneself and thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. If there is anything else, there is Luciano. John?
Yeah. What kind of limits are we talking about? As in, I don't know. Should we stop ourselves when we're too satisfied with our thoughts, or should we stop ourselves when we're too critical of our thoughts? I don't know what kind of rules.
Okay. Let me give you a simple example. The principle of contradiction. You agree that is a limit. Yeah. When we say something contradictory, we face a limit. Yeah. In the logic of what we are saying. And by the way, Socrates was spotting the contradiction in the interlocutor speech. Yeah.
Okay.
So, for example, that is a limit that we can use in order to push our thinking at a higher level. Logic, or rules in logic, or contradiction. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Want to add something? Okay, so you're thinking.
Yeah. It was clearer than I expected. I expected some tricks.
Oh, something. Okay. You have higher expectations. Sometimes the most stupid answer is good. You know, I think it's the idea of how it's called illumination of obvious. Yeah, it's so obvious that you don't see it. So when you realize it seems something surprising, but it's obvious.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? Either on the process, either on the content I brought to you at the beginning. Alex, how would you interpret this silence?
Yeah, as a fear of responsibility for the success of the dialogue, the workshop.
Oh,
If you raise your hand,
you can ruin the workshop.
and you're, fear of responsibility.
Yeah. Okay.
You can ruin your reputation.
Okay. So by we could do a long silence until the end, and not to ruin the workshop.
And have it completely ruined.
Okay, Alex, can you give them the video? Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
I was following all the conversation and then I lost the
Okay, so I invite the group now to try to help one to understand how it's possible to conceptualize something we are saying, basically, yeah, a sentence or an idea we are communicating. So I have a little, yeah.
So is it possible or why we?
No, how can we do it?
Okay.
Yeah. So who has an idea can raise his hand. One can pick one. You can pick one.
In order to conceptualize something we do or an experience we live, it could be useful to focus on the essential part. What is the core of the experience we lived? Letting apart the secondary, I could say, details.
Make sense?
Makes sense.
Yeah? Can you see the usefulness of this work of conceptualization?
Okay, so then if I go back to the exercise where we started from, she explains some thoughts, then you ask her to conceptualize. What I'm getting here is that basically what you asked for is that she would just reduce everything to an essence,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Can you do it?
Me?
Can you,
For what?
when you speak, can you find the essence of your thought or no?
I guess you can. It might take a while
to understand what it is that you're actually trying to say.
For example, I give you an example. When I write with my partner, writing partner, let's say, yeah, I usually, I don't know, I read a tale or I watch a movie, and then I propose some essential concepts that I think are very important in the movie or in the tale, yeah? And then I write an interpretation through that concept. So in that way, the concept becomes a filter that I use, an angle I use to see better the movie and to see the tale.
But when you say that you create concepts, what exactly are those concepts? Are there sentences? Are there paragraphs? Are there just simple words that have the entire essence of something in there? What is a concept in the end?
Okay, so you remember, no, you forgot my introduction. You actually forgot. Yeah, I proposed the idea that is a mental representation.
Okay, but mental representation can be a sentence or a paragraph of something.
Can be what?
It can be a whole sentence or an entire paragraph. It's a mental representation because it's an idea, right? It's not an object or something.
Okay, yes, it can be, but you see that it can be more useful to have just one word.
So you're trying to reduce everything
But,
to one word.
okay, you don't answer my question, but
No, I'm
but
asking.
can you see that it can be more useful to use one word?
No.
You don't see it?
No.
Okay. Can someone show why one word can be more useful to catch an essence of something than an entire sentence or a paragraph? Okay. Raise his hand. Who you want to speak?
Yeah, if I can. So we did this with Alex actually, and you remember, and Andy the same. Like we had many quotes, and then we had to choose like one and say just one word. And Andy, remember you had metamorphosis for yours with the butterfly, and so we had like, I don't know how many sentences, was it like 3, let's say, and then in those sentences, Andy found like one word that describes it all. And she used metamorphosis for that one. I don't know the quote.
But
yeah.
the word was not found in the text.
Yes.
She came up with the word
Yes.
that is most representative for what the text brought. It didn't encapsulate the whole meaning of the text, but it created a hierarchy of meaning where she put one word above others to represent some of the meaning, the main meaning she thought.
Yeah, I remember this. Like the word should not be in the text. That was like crucial.
And why one word can be more effective and efficient than more words, you think?
I think if you try to over-explain, just like
So you don't know.
makes you confused. As in, if I'm very clear, like lesser words, then you're more clear. Like you understand my message.
Okay, and what makes you more clear?
Lesser words.
Less words.
But wait, less words, but the essence.
Okay.
Lesser words that capture the essence of what you're trying to say.
Okay.
So can I just say?
Yeah, just to finish this point,
Yes.
it's a bit like something said before. By reducing the words, you're taking off the secondary elements. Yeah. So you're taking off, and at the end you have the essential. Yeah. What is more important? So in a way, you have to be ready to give up with a lot of stuff if you want to conceptualize. And that's one reason why people have a hard time to do it, yeah, because they want to keep a lot of stuff, yeah. Like my student when they underline all the books because they want to study, yeah. But at the end, if you underline everything, it's like you didn't catch anything important, yeah. So nothing is important if everything is important, yeah. So in a way, selecting concept are something to do with choosing. Yeah. So when you choose, you focus more on the more important element than you pick anything. Make sense?
I understand, but then how do you make sure that you do not get lost in this process? Because it feels like there's this pressure to get to that one word, and then how do you know that you don't
eliminate things that are actually important and essential.
Okay.
When your goal is to get to that one word.
Okay.
Then you can just skip things even though maybe those are important.
Thanks for expressing the very popular fear among students. That's why they underline everything, because they are afraid to lose something important. Yeah. And I
How do
think
you know what's important?
you know what? There is always the risk to miss something important, and if you don't accept it, you cannot conceptualize.
You cannot accept.
That's why you have hard time to conceptualize. Maybe now you understand why for you it's difficult to conceptualize. Because you're afraid to miss something. But you have to miss something.
Important. I'm afraid to miss something important.
Yeah, but let me tell you that there can be more important elements. Yeah, but if you want to raise one, you have to give up with others for the moment. In a second moment, you can propose another key element.
That's interesting. Okay.
But you know what? It shows that the fact that you didn't think about more important concept about you. You know what it reveals, or no?
No.
Who has any hypothesis? Alex?
She wants everything at once.
Okay. And how would you conceptualize? Greedy. Okay. It's true.
I don't know, I guess maybe.
Yeah, but it makes sense that you want everything in at once, and so it's a way to express your greediness in an intellectual way.
No, she's focused on the result.
Okay, one you try to defend her, but here I'm helping her, so you don't need to defend.
I'm not sure if that's the reason, but I'll need
Okay, think about it. Okay, any other hypotheses?
Yeah, I think she's focused on the result. She wants a result.
Okay, she's result oriented.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
She's an engineer.
Okay.
See,
By the way, mistakes in your field that can be really dangerous, right?
Yes.
So that's why for you, missing something important can be really
Can be different.
not acceptable. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And maybe another hypothesis is that there is an absolutist way of thinking. Yeah. So you think that there is just one right concept or one right answer, and if you think that, you don't give space to other important elements. You don't have a perspectivist dimension of thinking. It's just an insight. Maybe, I have a think about that. Yeah. Okay. Are you good, or you want to answer?
Thank you. Yeah.
You think I answered you? Or no?
Yeah. Thank you very much for maybe challenging.
Yeah. And do you see the difference between an answer like in this way than, let's say, an academic answer, or no?
Because we had this dialogue back and forth.
Because this is a bit the idea of my ethics, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Because you get more, in the end, the answer that you get to also takes into account the feedback from the first answer that you gave. And yeah, the idea of the dialogue, I think, is pretty clear.
So in a way, for you, it was for sure more difficult to engage this dialogue with me than to get just an answer.
Yeah.
But at the end, maybe you had a more better understanding of what you were looking for, no?
Exactly, because if you just get that answer back, you probably don't believe it anyway. So.
But you saw that it was a bit uncomfortable during the dialogue.
It was actually quite good.
Oh, yeah?
I felt quite good.
Okay, according to your expectation, maybe. Okay.
No, it wasn't
Okay, nice. Usually it's not that comfortable for people, to engage this dialogue. Okay, thanks. Other questions or yes?
Can I also propose an explanation for an engineer of what the concept is?
Yeah.
Okay, so a concept is like a zip file, right? You compress files in order to store and transfer them, and you eliminate everything that is unnecessary so that the size of the file is smaller, and everything that is too much. Yeah. But each of us has a different decompression algorithm, so things might get lost. But yeah, the more you practice, the better this algorithm gets. It's a
Good
guess.
analogy.
Okay. That was an example of transposition. Yeah, basically transpose the idea to another field. Yeah, it's clear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I will learn engineering language next time. Thanks. Okay. I don't know. Other comments or questions?
I like his idea that each of us has a different decompression algorithm. And it's like when you play Dixit, if you know the
Yes, I know the game. Yeah.
And when you
To describe the car.
yeah, you actually that's a conceptualization game actually.
Can you explain for everybody that game? Because I don't know if everybody knows it.
Yeah, it's there are some cards that have drawings on them, and you have to express with a word or two words something that you think about, and find the representation in the cards you have, and the others also pick one card that both describes what you have chosen, and the others have to guess which is the original concept, or which is the original picture that describes your story or your concept.
Actually, what is funny about that game is that you're not supposed to make everyone guess, but just a few people. Otherwise, you lose points.
Yes.
So that's the tricky part of the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it's a nice way to conceptualize, by the way. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Samuel.
What I found interesting during the dialogue between you and Johan, it was that she said that she has a hard time to conceptualize it, at least at the beginning. But at one point during the dialogue, you asked, how do you name blah, blah, blah? And she was very easy in giving the answer. So maybe you think that you are not able to do something, but in a specific field, scenario, you are very easy to give the answer because the answer was fitting in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. So you don't trust yourself.
Oh my god.
Oh, now it's getting uncomfortable.
Questions that I need to think about.
Okay. By the way, I have to admit that while I was asking that question, I had done a kind of insight, and I was like, don't use the word concept. And I use another way to put it. About how would you name this stuff? Because it's the same thing, by the way. But maybe it put less pressure on yourself if you don't name concept. Yeah.
No, but what I want to say, regarding what you said, is that I think, being able to conceptualize things is part of how we work, how our brain works, right? We can naturally do that. It's just that sometimes it's super easy and intuitive to do it, and other times it's difficult and complicated. And then my dilemma was, why even bother? Like, why would we need to do this? So I was in that area with things that don't come natural. But some things, just come natural, and then it's instinctive. You have it. You have the answer right there.
Well, my perception, that can be wrong, of course, is that you tended to overcomplicate or concept. This spooky term that I cannot relate to anything. Actually, it's like to name things.
Yeah, and by the way, I think thinking has a lot to do with choosing. Yeah. And even learning, That's why I noticed that a lot of students has problem with learning and studying because they reject the selection part, the choosing, because they are afraid, But when you think, you choose to focus on something and not something else. So you choose to risk to test an hypothesis instead another one. So if you have a problem with choosing, usually you have a problem with conceptualization. Make sense? Yeah. Are you good with choosing or no?
I guess I think what really makes sense for me when you said that you can do an initial analysis of, let's say, text or something and conceptualize it at that point and then eliminate some things then, but that is not the final So you can always come back to the text and look at it from a
Yeah,
different
but why should we define?
I don't know why in my head it was like, that's
You
it.
see, you
forever and
create
ever.
limits by yourself. Yeah.
It was like, you have to get it right now, and then this will be it forever, and you can never come back to it until
Yeah, so in a way, we spoke before, limits are useful, but sometimes can be dangerous or can be counterproductive, like in your way. You create limits that you don't need, that stop you from thinking. Yeah. All right, I saw another hand before, no?
No.
You, right?
Yeah.
What's the name?
Bogdan.
Bogdan.
Yes. So when she asked what is the use of conceptualizing, I started thinking about it because for me it's clear, but I noticed that it's not easy to find an answer. And then I found the answer that I found is that it's a way to know yourself, because so we have ourself, we have a concept for the self, but we don't have concepts for what's there, our core values, so very close to ourself. Like our core values are.
You know what strikes me from what you're saying, that you said that it was clear for you, but it's hard to say. Yeah. Because for me, it sounds like a contradiction. Yeah. Because if you have clear ideas, usually it's easier to say. So for me now, I mean, I didn't understand. I think there is a bit of chaos. So maybe try again.
Okay, so to conceptualize, it's to find concepts for the things that are inside of you and are very profound, like your core values, for example.
Okay. So that's why you connected the idea of conceptualization with knowing yourself.
Yes.
Okay. By the way, you notice what the difference about what you said before and what you said now?
I think it's more short.
Yeah, you see, in a way, yeah, you limit your thinking, yeah, and you use less words, and you have to be more precise, yeah, more attentive of what you're using, yeah. And I understood, and before I didn't, yeah. That's what I meant before by saying that often people think to be more clear, understandable when they use more words, but it's not the case usually, yeah.
I think it's very hard to express what, even if it's clear for you, so you have a clear representation in your head, but it's very hard to put it in words.
Yeah, but often putting words help you to clarify even better your own ideas. Maybe at the beginning you think it's clear, like you, and when often happened to me at the beginning when my career as a teacher, I thought I understood the concept. I was meant to teach, but then when I was there in front of the classroom, I realized that it wasn't so clear for me. So students couldn't understand because it wasn't clear for me first, yeah. So that's why it can be very useful to conceptualize, yeah, for me as a teacher, but it can be useful in other fields as well, yeah. Okay, so your idea is that through conceptualization, you know better yourself. You have to confront with what is important to you, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You find concepts for things that are inside of you and are very important.
Yeah. And I would add that you have to distinguish the phantom that are in your head from the idea that makes sense. Yeah. Sometimes we have ideas that they seem to make sense, but they don't. Yeah. And when you are in a dialogue, you can check. Yeah. That is the idea of myeltics. Yeah. If you read the Teeteto, there's Plato explaining this process. Yeah. Which is painful. He says it's painful. Yeah. Because Socrates is meant to take off the idea that don't make sense. But when he does it, say Socrates, people usually react in an aggressive way because they are attached in an emotional way to their own ideas, even if they don't make sense. So they want to save the child, even if it don't make sense, let's say, the idea, yeah? So that's why it can be difficult to do this job, yeah? To have a dialogue, because you have to face a different aggressive reaction from people, yeah? So if you look for recognition, I think forget about philosophical practice. It's not the right activity, yeah? Yeah. Good, yeah, yeah. You wanted to say? Oh wait, she didn't speak yet, so you forgot.
So the first thing I thought about when he said that conceptualization can help you know yourself better is that it's actually exactly the other way around. Because if you have a concept for something, or a name, you stop searching for what it actually is. So maybe a diagnosis for a mental illness would be a concept of what's going on in your mind, but once you have the diagnosis, you don't really question it anymore. So that's like what the conceptualization is for me, giving a name to something, and then once you have it like tangible, you stop looking for more.
So basically, if I understood correctly, you disagree.
Yeah.
So you think that conceptualization can be a way to stop thinking about yourself. Yeah. Did you understand this? No?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you get the explanation?
Yes.
Okay, it can work. Or no?
I think depends how you relate to the concept. If you.
Okay, now we have a nice contradiction here. Yes. And in a way, contradiction, usually we tend to avoid contradiction. Yeah?
Yes.
But in thinking, it's an opportunity to try to think again, yeah? To higher the level of thinking. So how would you, let's say, explain this contradiction?
I think she's right if you relate to a concept in a certain way. I mean, let's say.
In which way?
If you think that if you found a concept, then there's nothing to look there. It's not something that is alive.
Ah, okay.
I mean,
so it depends how you relate to the concept.
Yes.
Okay. If the concept is let's say the deadline, you stop. If you see the concept as a starting process of thinking, you go on and you discover yourself.
If you think that if you found a concept is something that is totally understandable, like a mechanism that is completely understood, then it means that you stop searching there. But usually you find concepts for things that are very alive and that are that you see but you don't completely understand.
Yeah. What's the name?
Maya.
Yeah. Did you understand?
Yes, I think.
Do you agree? Or no?
I do agree that it could be possible that having a concept can rather help you, but I don't really see it because for me a concept is something that's finished. So I give a name to something once I know what it is, and once you know what it is, it means you stop searching.
Yeah, but we agree with him that it depends on you relate to concept. You could relate differently to concept.
Yeah, but I don't understand. I do agree that you could relate differently, but I don't understand what that consists in. Like, how exactly would you relate differently from what I relate to?
Okay, but did you know why you stop when you conceptualize or no?
I think so, because if you have a concept, it already means it's finished. Like that's the.
But it could be a starting point, no? Concept. For example, when I write, I start from a concept. I say, love, and then I interpret the tale through the concept of love. So in that case, the concept let me start a thinking process. But you find a concept, that's it. You escape.
So I think what you're saying is you have more concepts. You have like a concept after the other, and not one thing.
No, I start from a concept, then I develop the concept by thinking, and then I switch. But you don't develop the concept.
I think I can only name something a concept once it's developed.
She says that it's the other way around. Basically, it's the thought, and then it becomes, you get to the point. It narrows down.
Okay, and now you're speaking about conclusion,
Deduction.
right?
Yeah, so for me, the concept is the conclusion.
Okay, but you realize that the concept can be, it's not necessarily a conclusion. You decide it's a conclusion. And I think, it's an interesting topic, by the way, because if you take Plato dialogue, yeah, there are many dialogues that they don't finish with any conclusion, yeah? And even those that finish with a conclusion, sometimes the day after, yeah, they start again from that conclusion from a new dialogue, yeah? So you see, it's your choice. You choose that is the end of thinking. So makes sense, his idea that depends how you relate. For him, a concept is a starting point. For you, it's a conclusion.
Yeah. Yeah, I just could he maybe then explain to me what his way of relating is, because I don't really see the other way.
Okay, you want to see how it works, so
Yeah.
by using concept as a starting point. Okay, can you explain? How can you use concept to know better yourself, for example? When you find a concept.
Yeah, maybe I can give an example.
Yeah.
So, for example, love is a concept.
Okay. Explain. You use the lover's conclusion like you stop thinking.
But
Alex.
it's so since we have
45 minutes.
Okay.
since we have a lot of movies and films about love, it's clear that love is something that it's very important to a lot of people. But nobody can say what it really is. Just that it's something that is very important for a lot of people.
Done?
And
And also there's different kind of loves. No?
Okay, let me see if she. I noticed that you want to help people. Yeah, you like customer support. Okay. Did you understand?
Yes, I realized that, for example, love is clearly an example of a concept that isn't finished, and yeah, it means a lot of different things. So, yeah.
Okay. So can you do it? Tomorrow can you do it? Can you use a concept and start thinking instead of stop?
Yeah, but I think it depends on the concept, because there's concepts like love or friendship or stuff like that that can mean something else to everyone, and there's concepts that tell you what they mean. So you don't really ask. So, for example, you start from the concept of love. You see a movie about love, and that's a concept, and then you start thinking about love. I do understand that's possible, but I think when getting to know yourself, you have some feelings, and then you learn about the concept, and you apply that concept to yourself. That limits you to the concept. So if you are feeling in some way, and then you name that thing as depression, it doesn't. You stop there. You don't really. Yeah, like the concept limits you.
Okay, but because in that moment you are defining your feeling to the concept, right? So feeling are quite subjective. You agree? Yeah. But if you take Socrates, he was asking for concept, for definition concept, just for the opposite reason, to push people outside from the subjective dimension. So that's why the rationality can help people to test the hypothesis. And sometimes we propose ideas that are subjective and maybe they don't work. And so looking for a definition that makes sense to the concept is a way to go out from the subjectivity. But you get stuck because you name your feeling, you're good, and that's it, right?
I think I would, like, what I thought about now is that when he talks about concepts, it's like you said, defining the concept, like Socrates. You go from a concept and you try to explain it, whereas what I understood as a concept is you have a phenomenon and then you try to explain the phenomenon through a concept.
Mm-hmm.
Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah.
So that's the difference, because if you explain something and then you give the name of a concept to that something, the thing becomes limited. But if you go from a concept into explaining something, then the concept becomes larger.
Yeah, and the definition can contain some problems, for example. In that case, Socrates would point out the problems. Yeah, so it's a building process. Yeah, so it's exactly the opposite. What the idea of Socrates? He started from a concept. Right? Define love. Love is the concept. You have to define. That's the challenge, and then start the thinking process. Yeah. Make sense? Yeah?
Yes.
And do you like the idea of thinking by starting from a concept or no? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So let's do it. Okay? Want to add something? Or good? Good. All right? By the way, I want to, since we have some time left, I want to propose to you, since we are speaking about conceptualization, a little an exercise, yeah. And I would like, since with Luca and Samuel we are working on the conceptualization of some proverb, I would like to invite Luca to pick a proverb. I know you like proverbs, so can you say a proverb, and then I would like the group to try to conceptualize the proverb.
So you want to choose a proverb?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'm intrigued by some local proverb. So I would like to know a local proverb, but if you want me to propose one, there are a few that I've been working with lately. So, okay, normally these are Italian proverbs, but I have discussed one, so I also translated it in English. I will take one of my favorite topics, the farmer.
Can you say in Italian first?
Yes, because there is also a little bit of the rhythm in Italian, but then we lose when we translate it to English. So in Italian sounds, the proverb is non far sapere al contadino quanto è buono il formaggio con le pere. Let me say it a little bit. Okay. Al contadino non far sapere quanto è buono il formaggio con le pere. Okay. Don't let the farmer know how good is the cheese with the pears.
The cheese with the
Pear, the fruit, not pear.
yeah.
So that is the proverb. You understand the proverb? Well, the wording, but the meaning is a different thing, but the wording. So don't let the farmer know how good is the cheese with the pig.
Okay, it's clear the proverb for everybody. What?
Can you translate it?
Okay, so let's take this proverb. Okay, now a good exercise, and I do sometimes, is to try to find just one word, maximum two, yeah, to catch the essence of the proverb. Yeah. So how? Now, if you have any hypothesis, let's check it.
But if we don't understand the project, how can we go inside? I mean, we don't understand why it is not good to let the farmer know.
Okay, you know what? Often I got the meaning, of the proverb by thinking of a concept. So at the beginning I wasn't understanding, and then you try, and then you reason, and then you check. Yeah. So, who want to propose? Yes.
Opportunism.
Opportunism. Explain why.
Because if you let the farmer know about how well the pear goes with the cheese, then he'll want to take advantage of this and
Okay.
increase the price maybe for the pear and the cheese as well.
Okay. So the opportunism is of the farmer, right?
Mhm.
So it's to avoid he being opportunist, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And how would you say avoiding the other person opportunism? Or you just remain with opportunism?
I just stay with
Okay. Say again. Name?
Bogdan.
Bogdan, yes. Do you understand?
Yes.
Makes sense?
Yes.
Do you understand now a bit more the proverb?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think.
You see how useful can be to try to find the essence with one word, opportunism.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay? But let's see if other people have a different concept.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I understood it differently.
Yeah?
Like, it's useless to tell him because he knows better than anyone else that cheese is good with beer.
Okay. So he knows already.
Yes.
So it doesn't make sense to say
Yeah.
to someone that knows already. Okay?
Excellent.
And how would you
Something between obvious and useless. It's useless to tell him.
Okay, usefulness. Yeah.
Yeah, uselessness.
Okay. Who sees the problem?
With what you said?
Yes.
No.
No?
You don't want to help me?
No, but it's not a problem.
Okay, how do you see a problem? Okay, go on.
There are two concepts which are different. It's like useless and obvious. Yeah, they're two different.
Yeah, I mean, they're consequent. It's obvious, therefore it's useless
Yeah.
to see it.
I have a concept which I think reconciles
Yeah, please.
redundancy.
Okay, because you repeat something that is already there,
Obvious.
obvious. Yeah? You accept it? Redundance? Okay.
I think we could find a better concept, but for now it's better than.
Are you a perfectionist? I mean, you already found a better one, but you want another one.
Yes.
You know what's the problem of perfectionist people on a, let's say, consequence or in an existential way, existential dimension? No?
No.
Okay, unsatisfaction. Usually they are chronically unsatisfied. Is it your case? It's hard for you to say, okay, good, I'm satisfied.
Yeah, actually.
Okay. But Alex offered you a nice concept, yeah? So you should say, thank you, Alex. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, you see, now we have two concepts of the same proverb, yeah? Another concept or
To work on this one.
you have another concept?
Yeah.
Okay, so first let's go with Luca that want to work with this one, yeah?
So the concept would be banality or uselessness?
No, redundancy.
Redundancy.
Yes.
Okay, the message of the proverb would be don't do redundant things.
No, redundant.
Yes, that's how I understood it.
Okay, so it would be the advice would be don't be redundant.
Okay, you see a problem or you accept?
No, I see a problem. But then,
Okay, can you say?
yes. Okay, yeah, then I see a problem in this, but the proverb, the first part of the proverb, presupposes that the farmer doesn't know. Otherwise, you would not say, don't let someone know. If I tell you, don't let your neighbor know something, well, I'm assuming it's understood that he doesn't know. Otherwise, I wouldn't say that. I would say something else. But if I say, don't let him know, don't let someone know, well, the starting point is that he doesn't know. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense, this expression.
So, Luca's idea is that there is an implicit presupposition that contradicts your the nice concept that Alex proposed. Yeah? Do you agree or not?
If we
Not if. Do you agree or not? You can disagree if you think it doesn't make sense what Luca said.
I disagree.
Can you say why?
It's because you don't always take words literally.
Okay, it's a metaphor.
Yes.
Yeah? And why the metaphor should lead to that concept, you think?
I mean, maybe I wrote the proverb in Italian, so maybe it's not the same as Romanian, but.
Do you have a similar proverb in Romanian? No?
I mean,
Because it's a bit difficult to work on a foreign proverb, maybe, but that's why.
for me, it's similar to don't sell roses to the gardener.
But do you agree with
That's
me?
right.
Do you agree that if someone tells you don't let him know, the presupposition is that he doesn't know?
Yeah, with this part.
Okay, and if you agree with that, do you agree that doesn't make sense? That the meaning is don't be redundant, because don't be redundant implies that he knows. So it would be contradictory. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay, so from a rational point of view, you should give up. But I see that there is a struggle. So why you have a hard time to give up with this idea?
Yeah, maybe it's because of the reason we saw that we talked about at the very beginning, because maybe it's embarrassing that I didn't understood it.
Oh, you want to avoid to appear that you said something wrong. Okay, by the way, before we spoke about stubbornness, I think is a nice example of stubbornness and a nice explanation, so thank you. So, but finally, you agree with Luca?
Yes.
Okay. You see how hard it is to give up with some ideas? There's emotions involved here. Okay? So now, what you wanted to propose something else, or that's it? What about opportunism? Do you think it makes sense?
Yes, I think it
Makes sense.
It suggests an opportunistic attitude.
Not to the farmer, because you interpreted it as the farmer is opportunistic. We should avoid the farmer to be opportunistic. I think the opportunism is the teaching of the proverb. So you should be opportunistic by not letting the farmer know.
Not avoiding the opportunity, but to be.
Yeah, be opportunistic. The proverb suggests and invites you to be opportunistic.
Can you explain why?
Yeah, because you take an advantage given by the situation, given by this piece of information that in the proverb is concretizes in knowing, having the knowledge of the delicatessen of the cheese with the pears. So you take advantage of it, and you want to take this opportunity and you keep it for yourself. So you don't let someone else know about it. So if the opportunism is for me that I receive the teaching, that I know the proverb.
Okay, it's a way to protect and preserve what is valuable in your life, basically. Yes. Not to make other people know about that value because they could steal that from you, for example.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
There is a situation, a given situation, you see that you can get an advantage, okay, get it. Don't share with the others, don't wait.
Okay, so there is the fear of losing what is valuable in your life. So it's better that people don't know what is valuable in your life.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. It's better the understanding of the.
Yeah, our understanding is that if you have information, don't give it to other people. Because you will
They can use them against the
hide
individual.
valuable information.
Okay, so hide what is good in your life.
Not what is information.
Yeah, but you agree that it's not just the general information or a specific information about what is positive about what you have. In this case.
In this case was an idea that it's a business idea. It's not about what
Yeah, related to the positiveness of those stuff, the cheese and the honey. Yeah. You agree? No? So it's okay. It's hiding certain type of information,
Yes.
not just general information. Okay. You see how by going through this interpretation, this conceptualization, you enter more in the proverb. It's the same thing with the tale, with the movie, and with thinking in general. Yeah. And of course, you have to be able to detach from your own proposal, hypothesis. Otherwise, you're stuck. Yeah. And that's why dialogue is the sense of philosophy for Socrates, because it's more difficult to keep up when you are by yourself. And it's more difficult to see the problem in your own ideas when you are by yourself. So you need, let's say, another external perspective that criticizes yours, that pointed out some problems in order to step back from yourself, to give up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who doesn't let you
Yes,
with
exactly.
your idea.
And that's what many people don't like about the practice, yeah, because it's confrontational, it's challenging, and it's a bit, you see, you are pushed to the limits of your ideas. Okay? Other Lucian?
I wanted to problematize the interpretation that you shouldn't give out things that you have, you shouldn't give out the information that you have to other people. I agree with Bogdan that it seems like the proverb is about business practice. I think it's more narrowed down than general.
Okay, so you have an objection, right? Say it.
You shouldn't. You should preserve your advantage over others, would be my interpretation.
Okay.
Rather than sharing important information.
But do you agree that by not sharing important information, you can preserve your advantage?
Yes.
So what you're proposing is not an objection, it is something that can go together with the Luca interpretation.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, so you see it's another example. He thought to have an objection, but he actually was agreeing with Luca's perspective. So you are fine now, you don't have a problem.
That's why I lowered my hand.
So you had a kind of doubt.
Yes.
Okay.
I still expressed it if I had the chance, but
you see, in the dialogue, now you're more conscious about why you have that doubt.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're fine now.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, please.
I also would like to problematize Luca's approach or explanation. Based on the proverb she mentioned with the roses and the gardener, where there's this proverb in Romanian, don't sell roses to the gardener.
Okay.
It's like don't preach to the choir.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's obvious that you don't sell roses to the gardeners, so making this presupposition that the farmer doesn't know could be a naive thing, because people are sometimes, I don't know, cheating or meaning, or we cannot for sure assume that he doesn't know.
Okay, so you reject the idea that there is a presupposition in the proverb that says that the farmer knows, right?
No, I don't reject that idea, because the proverb says that, it implies that he doesn't know if we say don't tell him.
Yes.
But that's our perspective, or everybody else's perspective. We don't know what he knows or doesn't know.
Yeah, but you don't need to know.
Okay.
It's enough that, that if you don't have to reveal, let's say, a secret to somebody, it means that that somebody maybe knows a lot of stuff, and he doesn't know the secret. Or at least you suppose that he doesn't know. No, what's going on?
Can you repeat?
You don't need to know other stuff that the farmer can know, yeah? If the proverb says, don't tell him, yeah? Okay, look, let's do a transposition, yeah? If I tell you, don't tell Alex this stuff, do I presuppose that Alex knows or doesn't know?
Based on an honest relationship, yeah, that's what we presuppose. Yeah. But if you're not well, your intentions are not, so I don't know.
Yeah, but now you're proposing other concepts like intention stuff, but we don't have elements in the proverb that can support this concept of intention.
No, but we can problematize, no?
Yeah, but if to problematize, you need to have something in the proverb, yeah? Otherwise, it's just subjective, objection. You can object anything.
I think we have a presupposition is not a sure thing. It's a presupposition. The name says that it's something that we assume. We don't know for sure. When we say we assume something, it's a presupposition.
Yes.
It's just something that we think could be or could not be. It's an idea.
Okay, but let me propose to you that a presupposition is not just something possible, it's something probable.
Yeah.
And you want to be sure. That's the problem. Yeah. But if you want to be sure, you cannot presuppose anything. Yeah.
Yeah, but
so in a way, when you presuppose, you take something that is not evident, is implicit, yeah, and but it's probable. If I ask you, can you pass me the bottle of water? What's the presupposition there? It's probable. It's not certainty.
If you're thirsty, that
you are more near than me to the bottle. But maybe I don't want to drink. I want to use the bottle for other reason. But probable, I'm thirsty. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I invite you to, when you do this work of presupposition, to accept what is probable. Yeah. It's not. If you're looking for something certain, you cannot do the job. Yeah. So do you agree that it's probable, since what Lucas said, that the farmer doesn't know?
Yeah, that's why I had the other concept that I initially gave. It's just that I could see this other angle as well, because.
Okay, if you see, you should be able to show. Otherwise, it's just some I don't know, insight, intuition that you are not able to explain. Maybe you have a nice intuition, but you should show other people. Can you show or no? So far.
I thought I did.
Okay. Who agreed with her that it did show that it could be not the case? What Luca proposed.
Well, we could say it's possible, but highly unlikely.
Okay, but so now you're rejecting the idea of probable presupposition.
No, I'm saying that the first scenario is 99% probable, our initial interpretation.
Yeah.
She can also be right, but in 1% of cases. So they are possible, but highly unlikely
Okay.
based on how things were phrased. It's also possible for you to use the bottle in, throw it out the window, but it's very highly unlikely you would do that.
Yeah. So, okay. You accept the explanation. So what you're saying is possible, but it's not probable. Do you agree?
I mean, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what you said, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. But I propose you that we accept the probable presupposition.
Mhm.
Yeah? Because there are many things possible, but they don't help you so much to separate. Yeah? So you're fine with Lucas' probable presupposition.
Yeah, I was fine with it, but I would also consider the opposite. You know?
Okay.
I mean, I was not rejecting.
But the
I
opposite
was-
is just possible.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's stronger with presupposition. So now you are posing a possible objection to a probable concept, yeah, or interpretation. So I don't understand why you prefer the possible counter-argument.
Yeah, because probably I want the certainty which
Okay, so let's give up with the certainty and reconcile with the probability. Yeah?
Yeah.
To be probable is enough.
Yeah, it's a bit of a challenge for perfection. So.
Yeah, you confirm that you are perfectionist. Yeah? And by the way, in science is the same. Yeah, scientists they're not certain. Yeah, they deal more with probability. Yeah. So it's the people that have a different conception of science, like religion, basically. Yeah. So did you reconcile with probability?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just for the yeah.
Okay. You see how it's hard sometimes for people to give up with some belief or needs in this case. Yeah. Okay.
I think what happened there with the ladies was simply that it might have gotten misunderstood. You gave another example with the roses and the gardener, which would be the same, but it's really not, because an example with the goat and the cheese and the purse is basically has two elements, which basically kind of narrows down the possibility that the farmer knows. It's like saying, I don't know, don't tell Maya how good frog legs are with ice cream or something like that. It's very less likely. But with the gardener, it might have been more obvious and more probable as he works with only one item, the roses.
Okay, so you're proposing that with her proverb, she was a shift of meaning a bit.
Yeah, because it is not the same, and it might have gotten to you because I saw that the other lady. I'm sorry, I don't know your name. She claimed it hooked her because she mentioned it, meaning that obviously she remembered it and it got to her. So I think that's kind of what happened.
Yeah, so she used another proverb to confirm her, let's say, possible interpretation.
Yeah.
Okay, she's right. Did you understand?
I have a bit of trouble following.
Okay. I think it's a nice way to put it. Okay.
Yeah, I would just want to say that it makes sense now for me what happened when I make this misinterpretation. But now it's totally clear for me that the proverbs are very different.
Okay. And now it's clear thanks to the process?
Yes.
Okay. I think now we can try to summarize a bit, because we have a bit of minutes left. So I would like to invite you to make a final, not anymore about the proverb in the content, but about let's say the general process we have been going through during this workshop. So any, conclusion, something was surprising for you, something strange, something difficult you encounter in this in this 1 hour and a half we spent together. Yeah. Yes?
For me, even now, after we've met 2 or 3 years ago in Oscar's retreat, and I used to think, and I still think to a certain extent, what's the point of all this? Often these discussions in a waste of time kind of way, what philosophers often do, but you making it somehow clear how the process works, like almost theoretically, helped me understand that it's not pointless, or what's the point about it.
Okay.
And even the discussions around it, I mean, with Juana, and I think it was very enlightening, let's say.
And what do you think?
For people who are at the beginning of first contact with philosophical counseling or philosophical processes, and even, well, for me in a way, who has been around it for a while.
Okay, can you tell one useful aspect of the practice that you noticed during this workshop?
Understanding.
Okay, so philosophical practice can help people to understand better when they speak, what they say themselves. Okay, thank you. Someone else?
For me, it was useful to see once again how people can see things from different perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
For example, when we used the word concept, I saw it as I use the concept, and she thought about as a concept as a psychiatrical diagnostic, which is used in a very different way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And did you enjoy this different?
Yes, it was nice to see to understand what she is meaning.
Okay, so you agree that it can be helpful to understand better each other.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Someone else? Alex?
I noticed in myself some frustration when I was stuck on a certain problem, and you were discussing about a different problem.
So I lost you at one point.
Yes, in the latest part with the interpretation of the proverb, that I was noticing in myself how I speak to my own interpretation, and that they're not getting it.
they're stupid. They're speaking.
They don't think like me. But then I noticed this, and then I relaxed. I let go of my own idea and came back to.
And what do you think does it reveal about yourself? What you notice?
I think it reveals that I tend to believe my own ideas more than others.
Okay, and what would you name this?
Egocentric. Or egocentric infatuation.
Okay.
Egocentric what?
Infatuazione.
It's narcissism.
What?
Narcissism.
No.
Thank you for the performative competition. Okay, by the way, this is the idea that through conceptualization and in general philosophical practice is a chance to know better yourself. That was a big idea of Socrates. Know yourself through the dialogue. Yeah.
Yes.
So thank you for the confirmation. Okay, you raise your hand.
Yeah, I would something that. Two things. One is the dark side of a concept that was proposed by the lady in white. And makes me think about this idea that knowledge is the death of thinking. So when you name something, when you know something, then okay, I know it, well, I don't think about it anymore. It's done. Flight. Done. So this idea, this dark side of the concept, it reminds me of this idea that well, when you think you know something, okay, when you framed it, and there is a nice drawer, it's there, I can take it, then it doesn't evolve anymore. It needs a conscious, intentional intervention if you want to start from there and start thinking it again. So that's
the way you have to give up your knowledge in order to start thinking.
Yes, you have to develop, you have to take a new attitude, you have to relate differently. That's why you talk about relation. You have to switch your relation to the knowledge you have. You have to question it again.
Yeah.
You have to make it alive.
And maybe what Socrates says, I know nothing, is in a way interpretation. It can be an interpretation of what you're saying.
Yes.
So you put yourself not in the knowledge, but you put yourself in an ignorant dimension. It's a bit a talking ignoranza that Kusan. Yeah. Okay. Do you like this? Yeah. But before you prefer to know. Yeah.
No, I think it's very similar to what I said. But I had another idea of what a concept is because we were also, before I said that, we were talking with her about how it's hard to find a concept for something. So I was thinking about a concept you find for something. If you do that, there's no room for growth after that. But if you go from a concept and try to explain the concept, then of course you can learn a lot from that. So that was the conclusion.
Yeah, that's why arguments are important. You have to argue. I mean, you have to provide a reasonable reason why you support that idea. Yeah. Otherwise, you just throw ideas and you don't check. And if you don't support them, you don't even give the opportunity to the other to criticize you. Yeah. So it's like I say, it's like that. Why? I don't say anything. So you cannot say anything to me. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
First of all, thank you for this meaningful session. In my perception, like I'm not good at philosophy, so like at much, but maybe like in my perception of what you said and what he said, Mr. Luca and the girl I don't know your name. Yeah, maybe she means when you name something. Because linguistically, if we didn't use the words and sentences, would not exist. Like maybe when you name something, which means like it exists in our language, and it will be like the first step of thinking. You know what I mean? Because as for example, Ludwig Wittgenstein, he said like the language is the vehicle of the thought. You know, and the limits of my words are the limits of our world. You know, and maybe also like our thinking it can vary from languages also. For example, that proverb, if you say it in Arabic language, can be different than Italian or Romanian language, like as a interpretation of the people who use that language. But neurologically, it's not correct because our mind it can produce a lot of words, a lot of meanings, and if we also separate the picture of the word and its sense. When you separate, like between themselves, we can remember the sense, but we don't remember the word. So this is the thing. Also, maybe the language can be a barrier to interpret also the proverbs and also to make it more understanding. You know what I mean? Like it's.
So for you, language is an obstacle?
Yes, it can be. It can be, yeah, because. Also, like there is like some people who has many can have like many thoughts and ideas, but he has like a barrier to express them and to. But as I know, like the language is not properly regarded as a system of communication, just communication, but also as a tool of thought and expressions and.
I noticed that you have a problem with limits yourself. Is that right or no?
I'm not limiting myself.
Do you see why I say
no,
that?
I'm just interpreting. Like some people can have limits with the language, you know.
Okay. But you, or maybe you were not there when we discussed about the positive way of the limits, or you were there?
No, it wasn't.
No, it was.
Oh, that's
really
why.
sorry to put the party and talking about limits.
Because,
Okay, so maybe you have to rewatch it because we spoke about this issue
really?
before you came, and it
Okay.
was I think an interesting point. Okay, I think it's time to leave, but we're gonna have more workshop during the next days. So if you would like to join, they are invited, right? That you can contact. I think it's for free, right, Alex? Yeah. So if you want to spend more time by thinking together, you can ask Alex. Thank you very much, everybody, and hope to see you. Okay.